There we go. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hello and welcome to today's live. Hello and good morning,
Hello,
sir.
Beena. Hello, Beena. Hello,
And good
Beena.
morning, Grain. And good mornings to everyone who is watching us live and will watch us recorded. A very good mornings to everyone. Today, Syl, by the way, just to give you a nice compliment today, it seems appropriate that your background and your shirt is complementing each other really well,
Oh, okay,
really
very
well.
good. Oh, okay, very good,
Yes,
very good.
because it's a
Okay,
golden
take
color
that.
and the golden color in the background and the style of art behind you and the
Oh,
colors.
yes. Oh, yes.
So everything is
There we
coming
go.
together really nice. So
Ah,
harmony is the real beauty. Okay, it's
yes.
beauty is okay if you
Yeah,
have to define something.
yeah.
It's like really complementing each other, and of course, showing true self is also very important. We put on, okay, it says that because it was on my mind, so we put on makeup. Why? We just want to create some colors harmony on our face. We put on clothes like, okay, yes, complementing each other, this style, this thing. Why? Just to create some harmony. It
Yes,
was
yes.
in the beginning, it was for the to create harmony with nature. That's why it was colorful leaves and all those things, and the colors and lines on your faces, tattoos and other styles also. I personally feel, because I'm not against putting on makeup, I'm not against wearing jewelry, I'm not against wearing modern, beautiful, colorful clothes. I love all these things because these are just
Yes,
different style of expression. For me, this is just an
yes.
expression. And also for me personally, it gives me an opportunity to share different aspect of myself. I am not just one personality or one side of me, like, okay, always thinking
Oh,
about things and always doing things. No, I have so many, of course, like all other people, I have so many sides and aspects of my personality. And sometimes it is like that. I shared my profile picture and it was appropriate because it was Eid day and I was celebrating it. I was wearing, that was a beautiful color, sky blue. I just love that. It
oh, I want to
was,
see it. I
uh,
want to see it. I want to see it.
yes, yes. It was since my childhood. In my childhood, it was two favorite colors only. One, sky blue. Second, chocolate. Because for me, they are the most amazing things in my life. Chocolate for the taste. That's why I like the chocolate color. And the sky is just the infinity, like the beauty of blue color. And of course, it was in our discussion also why blue is so precious. It's not my favorite color now, but the blue color is so precious for me.
I hope you don't have a
For
favorite
me,
color. They're all
yes, I
brilliant.
don't have that. Yes, all good I know. But the blue is precious in many ways because the sky, the oceans, and so many other things are blue, and different shades of blue. They really inspires. Anyway, so coming back to the thing that it was an expression. I do share my funny pictures also sometimes, and I don't share my messy pictures. Why?
Hmm.
Because sometimes when people are in a bit of messy situation, at least for me, I am not my 100% self on these
It's not
matters,
your
and I
real
don't
you.
want
It's not
them to.
your real you.
Exactly, I don't want to lock it in. That's why I don't share that. It is not because of vanity and other things. We all know that, okay, humans have this tendency. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they're not. So it's okay, no problem. And I do have flaws, okay, according to true standards of beauty. Of course, I'm not there. And I know that. But I don't
But
mind
there
that. I
is
don't
no
want to.
real standard of beauty.
But
It's
sometimes
subjective.
we have some conventional shoulds and should nots.
We need to get
So
out of that. We need to
that,
get out of that.
yes, and I don't care about this thing anymore. It's not the
Good.
idea because I have, as I'm learning and
Yes, we
growing,
need to get out of that.
I'm
We need to
learning.
get out of
Yes,
that.
and I don't also that as part of my learning and growing, I am able to not negate the importance of appearance and physical, yes, physical existence also. This is part of my learning. I am not like, okay, all about the inner beauty. No, we do have eyes and we see first thing we give, how we perceive others. The first is visual, and it tells a lot. So I'm not negating the importance of it, but of
Yes.
course we gradually learn and know each other more, and then these things get like really behind. Then it
Okay.
doesn't make any difference at all. But first is visuals, and that's why we have eyes. This is how we see colors. This is how we see different shades and differentiate between different shades of colors and all those things. So this is the visuals also have their own importance. That's why we create art. Why? Otherwise, there is no sense. If you don't like beauty, why you create beautiful art? For the
Exactly.
visual,
Exactly.
for the
Exactly.
celebration of visual
Exactly.
senses.
Exactly.
And
In other
this
words,
is yes,
beauty
yes,
is a very nuanced, complicated concept that we have to
yes,
absolutely think through to the
yes,
end and perspective shift on and deal with discernment and care. It's not a blanket
exactly.
thing, not blanket. And we have
Yes,
to be very careful of making it blanket. Yes?
yes. Art is all about the true emphasis on beauty. Beauty, not in the sense of all the pleasant things, but even when they are creating horrible scenes and sharing
Yeah.
the real dark side of the
Yeah.
world, they create
Yeah.
it as beautiful as they can. So it's the whole emphasis of art is on beauty. So yeah,
Yes.
okay. Anyway,
Yes.
let's come back to the today's topic, because today we have something really exciting. I missed that
I'm ready.
because of some technical reason, and I didn't want to. So we are going to just watch Syl again on the podcast, and the second time, the second of
Right.
the
Well, when you
series of
say
many
again,
to come.
we're not watching the first interview again. We are now watching the second interview
Yes,
together
that's
for the
why I
first
mentioned
time.
that the second
Yeah.
of the yes, the second
Yeah.
of the series of many to come. I'm
Mm.
not counting now because they are just continuously increasing because of
Yes.
his energy, because of his good vibes, and because of his, of course, the importance of his sharing. He is getting more and more and more. This is what
Yeah.
actually, not really like, okay, this is what it. I feel that this is where he belongs, and of course this is just the initial point of it. This is the start, and it is going to be all caps more. So
Thank you,
come on,
Beena.
Syl, we are keen to view the Moreness,
All
the
right, we'll go
Moreness show.
there in a moment. We'll go there in a moment. What
Yes,
Beena was saying about more and more and more. Um,
yes,
not only the network people from PBN network, and of course the feedback that they get, because when I shared the live link, it didn't work for Beena. I hope it worked for others. But that's not the only place you can see it. Depending on whatever, like you might be via Apple. Like I can't watch an Apple because I don't have an Apple computer. Well, I could technically, but you got to be signed into Apple. So a lot of people watch on Apple Podcasts, right? And they go there, and there's hundreds or dozens of these different podcasts where you can listen to it. So it's kind of very split out. That's why it's hard to give one specific link. But anyway, um, so they also get a lot of feedback via the various podcast networks specifically that are part of the greater network, right? This podcast business, PBN network. And they're getting a lot of positive feedback. So, and the sponsors, because of course, they're a commercial, they're like a radio station and they run on sponsors. And the sponsors love me. So they increased it with making me professional of the year. And then they said, I'm a centurion, like I'm in a once in a decade or once in a century. Okay, they really love me. I don't know. They got all these terms. Anyway, I take it with a bit of a pinch of salt. It is an honor. I mean, you know, the, the senior vice president said to me, he's never seen any of this. He's been in the business 40 years. The last time they had somebody, this was 18 years ago. So anyway, so that's what Beena was saying, more and more. And as a result, they've increased the number of shows that I'm going to do. I mean, originally it was just 10, and then it kind of doubled to 20, and now they've added even more. And he said, look, likely you're going to be on for the rest of the year, for a whole year. So because they just love you. So all right, cool. We'll go as long as it works. And he said they want me to do my own show. And he said this will be on TV somewhere. I have to wait for the details. We'll see. Maybe I misunderstood, and it's like a vlog, but we'll see. More is coming from that. Anyway, let's see this interview that made them so excited and happy. To me, I'm just being me. I see the mourners that they see, but all right. I don't listen to podcasts very much. I did listen to a couple, especially with Joe. And all right, well, the energy difference was noticeable. Just not me. All right, let's screen share and then we'll watch. This is the interview from Wednesday, which many missed. Well, at least Beena and her family missed. And it may have been that it was just, international, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, we'll watch it again and then we'll have some critique at the end. All right, so we're going to watch it here. Norma, are you here? I don't know if you saw this. Beena said, hello and welcome
Yes,
at
yes.
everyone.
Norma is here. Norma is here.
Oh, good. Norma is here. Brilliant. I didn't see a chat from her. I saw your chat come right there now, but I didn't see a comment from Norma.
No,
So,
Norma
okay.
says hello, Beena, and she says received, Syl. So yes.
Oh, that's interesting that I saw your comment come immediately, but I didn't see Norma's. How weird is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Come on,
By the
Facebook.
way, hello. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
hello, Norma.
Yes.
Yes, I have
Hello.
seen your
Hello,
comment.
wonderful Norma. Hello, wonderful Norma. Always love you being here. Just do more. Yeah.
Norma.
All right. I'm just setting it all up and then I can watch this. All right. Now, oh, brilliant, Norma. Oh, brilliant. Now, I'm going to make this interview full screen. Yeah. So I won't see the comments during the interview. Make them, Norma. It's only a half an hour, slightly less. Oh, and then I'll look at the comments afterwards. So please make them. But I'm going to
Yes.
make it full screen. All right. And then,
Yes.
so we don't see anything else. There we go. All right. There we go. I forgot to put the sound on. I forgot to put the sound on. When I do share screen, there are two little buttons that I have to click that it shares the sound. Otherwise, you'll hear the sound from my microphone, right? So I have to do that, and I forget to do that sometimes because I don't put it on as a standard. Otherwise, you'll hear my radio in the background, which that reminds me. I must put that off.
You're
Because
not
I have
sharing a
it. Like,
screen.
yeah. I know. I stopped sharing so that I can put the radio off. Yeah,
Okay.
or Pandora. I have Pandora playing, but it's very faint. But if I don't, you'll hear it more loudly when I do the share screen and I activate the audio. That's what I'm trying to say. If I don't activate the share sound, you won't hear the sound from the interview. Right? Oh,
Okay.
shit. I'm glad I remembered. Otherwise, I can hear it, but you will. Here we go. Here we go. Starting. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is Podcast Business News Network. Sorry, Syl, say that again. My sound just chopped off for that last part of what you said. Please say it again. Yes. Now, this is a key point. I was really thinking about this beforehand, and it's what I do every day. And yes, you say, how do I describe myself? Well, uh, as somebody who shares. That's mainly what I do. I share. I have a lot to share, and most importantly, when we hear and say, "Oh, somebody's sharing, or they're doing this, or they're running life change and self change programs, writing books," that puts a box around the idea of what they do. What I do is share moreness, and yes, moreness. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's not a word." Well, it is. Exactly. Well, not only that, but if you actually follow English, you can take any word that the suffix to it and make it do it. Right? So moreness is absolutely, but it doesn't matter. Do you understand what I mean by moreness? That's the important point. You do. You
Sorry,
do.
Syl,
That's
sorry to
why I'm so
interrupt,
excited to be here because
but
our
Norma can't hear the sound.
oh, can you hear it, Beena?
Okay, I was listening here, I was not listening there, and it was chopping for me. Now I can hear you.
Oh. So you can hear it via Zoom, but Norma's
Yes.
not hearing it via the live. Yeah.
Yes, so please.
Uh,
And restart it. When you do that, when you
I'm going
fix
to.
that,
I'm going to. I'm going to. I'm going to. I'm going to play it in a different place.
yeah, Norma
Uh,
first said, okay, ouch, and then she says, not getting sound except you.
oh, okay. Well, I was playing this directly from the computer, but let me play it on YouTube.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you for letting us know.
Yes, thank you, Norma. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, and let's go. I am screen sharing. And well, let me just do a little test here and see if you tell me if you hear the music, Norma, the introductory music, no, 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 whatever, right? Okay, here goes.
Norma says choppy for me too. So she says that, okay, no.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Did you hear that,
Yes.
Norma? Did you hear that?
She says, can't hear you, Veena. Okay. She can hear me.
Did you hear the sound, the introduction sound, and Jill into saying "Welcome from the Business News Network, capital of the world" or something like
Yes.
that?
Yes. Yes, she can.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so let's play it this way then. Good, good. See, trial and error. This is why we do these opens to test and learn things like this. Yes, I appreciate. Look, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, it's not ideal. Just skip past these stuff. We're going to get there in a minute. So now I'm going to play it again from the beginning, and full screen again. Fantastic. So you keep an eye on Norma's comments because I've got it full screen because I'm doing the screen sharing, right?
Yes.
Here we go.
Syl Sabastian, our professional of the year, excited to have him, the founder and creator of the Beena platform. And and we're going to talk to him about his we're
Still
going to see
choppy.
people and because
Okay. Still choppy. Then we stop.
Yes.
And then, Beena, you play the video and you screen share. I'll try it from your side. I'll send you the link in a moment.
Yes, please.
Well, I'm just going to put the link in comments. Actually, then anybody else can get it too for later, right? Yeah, I know, Norma. We know they come 30 seconds late, so we do pay attention. Yes, thank you, Norma, for reminding. Okay, so now Beena's going to screen share and she's going to play that video, and then we'll watch it together because we do want to watch it together. Thank you for all your marvelous feedback there, Norma. Yeah, it's my internet. As something has happened to it, I'm getting a new, well, an extender thing that next week, Monday or Tuesday, and then that should help. But the internet has been very poor here for some odd. Okay, play when ready. Okay, here we go.
Okay, can you hear? Whoa. Nope, 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 nope. Stop sharing. I need to do this with the sound.
Yes, yes, you forgot to, and also reset the video to the beginning again. Reset the play the
Yes, 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 I will do that.
we forget. We're so used to screen sharing, and you don't put that sound on.
Yes. Why it is just giving me the hard time. Okay.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Syl Sabastian, our professional of the year. Excited to have him, the founder and creator of Nobelia.org, the Way-of-Impeccability and Moreness-Project life change programs. He's an author, he's a poet. He's just an amazing soul. And we're going to talk today about his programs, his organization, and how he's helping so many people to shift and live. Hi, how would you say that? You know yourself best. You're here why?
Sorry, Syl, say that again. My sound just chopped off for that last part of what you said. Please say it again.
I said, well, you know yourself. I tried talking about you and hyping you up because there's so much to you. You're helping people live, helping people shift, helping people change. But how would you describe yourself?
Yes. Now this is a key point. I was really thinking about this beforehand, and it's what I do every day. And yes, you say, how do I describe myself? Well, as somebody who shares. That's mainly what I do. I share. I have a lot to share, and most importantly, when we hear and say, "Oh, somebody's sharing, or they're doing this, or they're running life change and self change programs, writing books," that puts a box around the idea of what they do. What I do is share moreness, and yes, moreness. A lot of people say, "Oh, there's not a word." Well, it is.
It is a word. It is your word. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, not only that, but if you actually follow English, you can take any word and add a suffix to it and make it a word, right? So moreness is absolutely this, but it doesn't matter. Do you understand what I mean by moreness? That's the important point.
Absolutely.
You do, and that's why I'm so excited to be here, because you, Jill, you do understand what I mean by moreness. You are a practitioner of moreness as I see it.
You see, and I never even knew that. I just love life. I'm a happy person. I love getting to who want the best for everyone.
Exactly.
And you are.
Exactly. Energy and excitement. That's moreness. And the thrill of living, the thrill of being, the thrill of connecting, the thrill of interacting, the thrill of learning and growing and putting on it. That's moreness, right? It's all moreness. Now, also, of course, there's more to moreness. There's always more to moreness. That's the magic of moreness. If I said to you, Jill, I've got a spaceship and I'm going to go out into space and we're going to go and explore the unknown. Would you like to come with? You say, unknown. Well, unknown's kind of scary. I'm not so sure. But if I said, oh, we're going to go explore moreness, you say, yeah, sign me up. I'm on board. I want to go.
I'm in. Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's just a way of looking at things, at the world, at life. When I see life as unknown, as scary, as challenging, of course there's stuff out there, but there's also moreness, right? And there's more moreness than there is lessness. That's why our world functions and our world operates. That's why there's life. There's more moreness than lessness. Right? So we just have to tap into it and focus onto it. And moreness is also an alternative paradigm. This is very, very, very important to connect to. It's an alternative paradigm. This is absolutely essential, at least my moreness, yes, that I'm sharing. And in this alternative paradigm, when we take our typical paradigm, the superiority paradigm, it's all about hierarchy and dominance and being better, winning and all of the stuff, comparison and competitiveness. Moreness doesn't have to have that. We can just share and enjoy and thrill in and delight in the beingness of others. I'm not competing with you. This just it's not even in my mind. It's just, but sadly, in the superiority paradigm, this is always what people are doing. And boy, does it just take all your energy and sap you and drain you and waste your time and energy.
It out of us, yes.
Exactly. It's not. You don't get anything out of it, right, Jill? What do you get out of it? Nothing. But you understand this. So moreness paradigm is about let's do things differently, people. Let's find other ways in which to relate, interact, connect, be, etc. Yes? Why not?
I'm ready to take that challenge with you. And how do we contact you? We got to remind everyone. Please tell us your website.
Exactly. So you asked me, who am I? I am somebody who very much is wanting to share that we can do things differently. There are viable, feasible, moreness alternatives. That's it. I mean, behind me, I'm not just saying this because it's a nice idea. I have this whole mind map behind me, which we are going to get into. This is what I'm excited about. We are going, this is the detail of exactly and precisely how you can practically apply it. I don't care about theory and ideas and hypotheses. No, must be practical. Not practical, I'm wasting my time. This
Nope.
is part of my Moreness project. My Moreness, practical, practical, practical. Yes, because if you can't use it, what's the point?
Exactly. What is the point?
Exactly. The point is joy.
Oh, happy, happy, joy, joy.
You asked what's the point?
Yeah.
It may have been somewhat rhetorical question, but that's the answer for me. Joy. Everything, if what you're learning, what you're growing, doesn't in some way lead ultimately to joy, then you're wasting your time. Yes. Now, you don't want your joy to be hollow either,
Nope.
and you don't want to have vulnerable joy. You don't want to be in a bubble. Yes. So your joy has got to have support. It's got to have foundation. It's got to be solid. Yes. Independence of being, in other words, where you truly have independence of being. And I don't mean independence like financial independence. Yes, that might be a part or not, but that's not independence of being. Means you're not affected by things like other people's opinions, stuff like that, right? So, I mean, there's a huge amount that goes into independence of being, as I feel you are aware, because you interview many people, right? You're a celebrity interviewer. That's what you do, yes?
I just love people and I talk to people and I get so much from it. I do.
Yes.
And you know, it's about you, but you make it about everyone. That's what you do so well. I mean, you're here and teaching so many people to shift to live the best life they can.
Exactly.
I commend you on this. Nobelia.org, by the way, because he's just too modest to talk about himself. So I have to every now and then. Nobelia.org. And all you do, and he's all over every social media platform out there. Join his Facebook group, subscribe there. And of course, as an author, you just are on fire. And thank you for joining me, by the way, on Facebook. I see that you promoted us. So we are excited to have you here. Thank you. What did you
If you want to
talk about?
find me on Facebook, by the way, for those of you who I love questions. Truly, I absolutely and I thrive on questions. Questions, earnest questions especially. Be careful of asking me an earnest question. You may get way more than you expect. Earnest questions are like they do something to me. Truly, I can't explain it. They like pull stuff out of me. Like if you ask me just sort of regularly, you say, oh, all right. But if you ask me an earnest question, I get access to things which I couldn't otherwise access. It's quite fun. And yes, Jill, what you said, for me, it's about everybody. It's about everybody. You know, it's not about me. I'm not here to promote me. I'm here to promote moreness paradigm, an alternative paradigm, different ways of doing things, alternatives. We don't have to get stuck in the usual stuff to do. Life is exciting. It's thrilling. It's brilliant. It's profound. And you know, I always used to say this. I had retail stores, and my employees, I used to say it regularly. I used to say, "Oh, life is easy," and I would grumble. No. And they would kind of give me a hard time about saying that. But truly, it is. Once we have the foundations in place, right? We have the fundamentals in place. It makes it so easy. It's not hard. It's not hard. I was getting to with celebrities and independence of being. Yes, I feel not all of them, but the ones that have been around for a while. They have that independence of being, yes. They've moved on past being hung up about fans and their approval and their attention. Not that they ignore their fans, but this is not what makes them who they are. Yeah, they things like their artistic integrity and what they want to do in their lives, or etc. etc. This is what's important to them. But they've developed that independence of being, yes.
So true. Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. I just bring it in because, it's a relativity and a connectivity. All right, let's get going on what I want to share because I'm very excited. I'm very excited. You brought your children into it. You brought your children into it last week. And your children, see, when you spoke about your children, there was an earnestness when you shared. There's a deep earnestness. This is important to you. You see now, this is for me, I pay attention.
Yeah. Earnestness is like, it's the brilliant earnest goodness. Oh, I just love it. You pay attention and you start to see earnest goodness in the world. Your
Mm-hmm.
whole world starts to explode. It's everywhere, but a lot of people hide it, by the way, because in the superiority paradigm, it's not always sought after and delightful for, those who are looking for dominance and all this. They see it as weakness or whatever. So a lot of people hide their goodness. They hide their earnest goodness too. But this is what the way makes the world go round. So you spoke very earnestly about your children. And I said, I want to share a way of impeccability with you. And I'm
Awesome.
going to do this. I'm going to screen share. I think I'm able to.
Sure, bring
Yes,
it
I am.
on.
I am. So I'm going
Absolutely.
to, yes, I am. So what I want to do, I want to set it up a little bit first because I'm going to share the whole program. Now, two things. I mean, and we've got many shows to come. We've got like 20 shows or something to come. And Way of Impeccability is a big program. This is a serious program. This is a
It is.
true life change program, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not all I do. I also have books, and I'm going to be releasing some books, and I want to talk about that. But as we go through Way of Impeccability, all that is going to come into it. And you're going to get to know me as well
Mm.
in this sharing, because the books are all connected to this. I mean, my main book series, which I'm going to, it's all written, but I haven't published it yet. I'm saving it for the right time to publish. It's founded on Way of Impeccability. Yes, it's a fiction story. It's a fantastic story, but it's all founded on Way of Impeccability. It all starts with Way of Impeccability. Moreness-Project, it is called the Way of Impeccability Self-Expansion Moreness-Project. See, it all goes from there. So everything connects back to this. But I want to share it with you, Jill, as we go along.
Sure. Please go ahead.
But
This is great.
with a caveat as well,
Oh,
because you asked and mentioned specifically about your children, and you said about, well, I'm going to paraphrase because it's just a habit that I'm doing is in putting things in my own words, and I'm going to get to that later on. That you shared that education and learning and what they learn, qualities and
yeah.
characteristics and traits. This is
Oh.
important, and this is what Way of Impeccability is. Way of Impeccability
Mm-hmm.
is really deep, profound character training.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's character training, right? And not only training your character, but skills of being as well. Well, we're going to get into all of this, but I'm going to share Way of Impeccability and share it through the connectivity for your children. So I'm adding a little twist onto
Right.
there.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
so Ryan
in.
just shared regularly. Now, two things before we start. I know I'm building this up and I'm keeping an eye on the time. By the way, last week, my interview was 3 minutes long to me. That's how long it felt. 3 minutes.
It goes fast. We got to do hour sessions maybe next time. Yes.
Yes. I have so much, a half an hour. When I do sessions with participants, it's 2 hours. But
Yeah.
so what I want to share is anybody listening to this, be aware that don't put anything I do into a box. There's always more, right? So in taking Way of Impeccability, you don't just go and I share the content with you and you read through it and you listen to it because there's audio as well, and that's the end of it. And no, that's not how it is. So I take learning very, very seriously. If we
Yeah.
truly want to learn, we have to
Mm-hmm.
make things our own. You can't
Yeah.
just listen to somebody else and you may realize it and recognize it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times, Joe? How many friends do you have that go on the internet and Facebook and just love wisdom memes? Yeah, you probably
Yes.
got tons of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
how many of them change because of those wisdom memes? Not many.
Not
They read them,
many.
they love
They
them.
read them, they love them, they share. That's what I was saying. No, it's just in
Yeah.
one ear, out the other, in your eye.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And now I don't want to disparage those people. I don't want to be mean to them, but I have friends who have like pages and groups that share wisdom memes, and they see the profoundness. They truly do. They truly recognize the profoundness. But recognition is in the moment. If you don't integrate it, literally incorporate it. Go look up the word incorporate, what it means. Yes, we take it with companies, but it's to make physical. Yes. So when you put it in your body, that's what learning is.
Yeah.
Not when you put it in your mind. In other words, it's like when you download a new app or a new operating system. You download the install file that sits on your hard drive.
Yeah.
That's the same as
That's
recognizing the wisdom meme. You've got to install it before it actually makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's what to me what's important. Now, I have techniques and methods for installing what is important. And this is what I want to say. If somebody comes and does Way of Impeccability, and I'm going to share the overview, but we aren't going to be doing it. I mean, we could if you really want to. That would be really
Yeah.
cool, right? But that would mean a little bit of pre-time, because the way it works is I share it, and then the participant goes through it, and they've got to do repeat backs and takeaways and do the tasks and exercises. Now, your next question is going to be, so what's a repeat back and what's a takeaway?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the words themselves tell you kind of what it is.
Okay.
So if I share something, you go and you see the slide. A repeat back is you write it down, and then when you come on Zoom later, you're going to share with me what, in your words, the slides say. Right? So that's all a repeat back is. It's just saying it. You say, but why do I have to repeat the same thing? Because it's in your words. Now think about that. Think about that. Just try it. Just try it next time you with your children, right? Or for most people, especially do it with your partner. Say something to them and say, "What did I just say? Could you give me a repeat back in your own words? Could you repeat what I said? Not verbatim,
Yeah.
in your own words." You're going to be amazed how few people can do that. You have the skill, likely, Jill, because you're a professional interviewer. So you need to really know what somebody's saying to be able to repeat it back, right? Because that's part of what you do. But most people, this is not something you do. And you're going to be surprised. I mean, you have this classic meme of the husband watching TV, and the wife comes and she talks to him and he says, "Oh, you're not listening." "Yes, I am. What did I say?" And he repeats verbatim back to her. Yeah, but if that wife was sharp, she said, "No, no, no, no. Say what I said in your own words." And then no clue. Now he has not got a clue what she said, because he just memorized it, went onto his hard drive. He didn't internalize it, didn't make it real. Yeah? Does this make
Yeah.
sense what I'm saying? So a repeat
Totally.
back is a very profound thing. Now, let's get a little bit deeper onto this. There's always more, right? Why is a repeat back so valuable? When you put it into your own words, you start to internalize it. And what is most important, if you are going to change and learn, you start to make it your own. Yeah? When you're putting
Yeah.
it in your own words, you're taking that information and you're making it your own. It goes deep into who you are. So repeat back is really huge. We come to the second important things. You also do takeaways, right? Like when we get to the end of a show, then you think of the entire show, right, Jill? And you say,
Yeah.
"What are my takeaways from here?" You want to share the key points, the takeaways. But when you're learning something deeply, like if I watching a movie, I go to anything, read a book, say, "What am I going to put in my pockets, inside me, in my soul, in my spirit, in my body, in my legs, in my arms, in my feelings? What am I going to take away with me that matters to me, that I want to not lose?" That's what a takeaway is.
Yeah.
What's really important to you? Yes, what matters. Now that's, as a participant, this is your task. What you need to do before we come on Zoom and discuss it, right? So that's what we will do. We'll go through your repeat backs. We go through your takeaways, because even though on a takeaway, now I'm really shortcutting this, right? There's quite a lot of time to get to this. I have a whole program on how to take the program. But your takeaways, they don't need to necessarily be connected to the material. Like you mentioned your children, and that may be, for me, in my brain, something comes up when I was a child. I call those come up takeaways. Share those. I want to hear that, because it's always connected. Everything is connected, right? As you
Mhm.
probably know, when you're
Yeah.
interviewing and something happens and you get those little segues, you get those little jumps. They may seem random and irrelevant, but there's always moreness to it, right, Jill?
Yeah. Always moreness. Yes.
There's always moreness. Exactly. There's always moreness. Now, this is and then there are tasks and exercises, specific tasks and exercises in the program that you're going to have to go and do. And they're usually application based. Like, for instance, one of them would be to, next time you watch a movie, do a takeaway of what really actually, doesn't matter how silly the movie was or how irrelevant,
Yeah.
what made a difference to you? What did you take away from it that could change your life? Stuff like that, right? So the main key point that I want to emphasize out of all of this is precisely that emphasis. The repeat backs, the takeaways, the tasks and exercises, and then going over it again on Zoom twice a week for 2 hours. That's typically how this works.
Okay.
Or we do it in groups. It's emphasis.
Okay.
Emphasis literally
Emphasis.
rewires the brain. You know this, yes?
Yes, I do. I do. I do.
Exactly. Now, it's not a common knowledge. And to me, if there's one thing to take away from this interview, this session today, this show today, I don't know, what do we call it? A show, right? I don't know what we call it.
Yeah, it is a show, but it's
It
not
is a show.
It's a
It's going to be.
conversation. And I hope people are gaining moreness from this.
Exactly. I say, if there's one thing you take away, is to be aware of how important emphasis is. Emphasis literally changes your brain nodes and the connections between them. And so when you emphasize something, that node is enlarged, those connections are expanded, more connections, and also if it's emphasized enough, it stays that way and you don't forget it, right? I mean, everybody knows where they were on 9/11. What were you doing in 9/11 when that news broke, right?
Yeah.
Most people can tell you exactly to the detail where they were. Or when your first child was born, you can say exactly because of the emphasis, right?
Yeah.
You can tell me second by second what happened because the brain gets rewired because of all of that profound emphasis. Now, when it comes to learning things, they're not as dramatic and
Nope.
as things like your child being born or whatever, right? But when you can do other things to emphasize it, and all of those, the repeat back, the takeaway, and then later when we go through it on Zoom, and you, the participant, shares what's important to you and you get heard. This is profound emphasis.
Oh, this is beautiful, is what it is. Oh my
Yeah, so
goodness.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So I wanted to get started on sharing Way of Impeccability, and since we have a couple of minutes, I'm just going to start. We'll do more on it on next week, but let me
Absolutely.
screen share, and then I'll show what I mean. One, two,
Please,
three,
go
four.
ahead.
Get the screen going there. This is why I love Zoom, that you can
I
screen
love
share.
you could see. Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
it's really huge. So this is the first slide of Way of Impeccability, and it's in a slide format, not in a video format, not in a long book format. I specifically put it into a slide format. There's moreness. Why? Because when you're in a video format, I know you can pause it anytime,
Yep.
but do you? No, because we're keen to see what's next. But when
Yeah.
it's in a slide format, you kind of have to absorb everything, and then you have to deliberately move on. Yes,
Okay. Let's do it.
and that makes a difference. Psychologically, that makes a difference. In other words, I'm making a point about nuance. I'm paying attention to nuance, right? So it's a Way of Impeccability life change program. This is Cookie. Tools for deliberate living. Yeah. So, it's just very basic, very simple. I tried to add some moreness to it because, this is part of it, the moreness. Now, right, here's all the different modules and the different contents. We're going to go module 1, intent and appropriateness, and then there's course taking details, and that's the real start, clarity of intent. And that's what I want to do next week. I want to do clarity of intent with you. So I'll just share the next screen. If this is on a video, people can pause.
Yes,
I don't want to read
please.
through them all because it'll take a long time, and we're running out of time. So I want to start this next week. I want to go through this.
Sure.
Clarity of intent and focus of purpose. I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. Now you're going to say to me, but Syl, you said you want to share this relative to my children. I'm going to make clarity of intent and focus of purpose relevant to your children. You'll see next week. So we're going to have an ongoingness, right? We're serializing this. We're going to see cliffhangers. The cliffhanger is, how does clarity of intent and focus of purpose, how can it be connected to a 7 and a 9-year-old? That's your children's ages, you said, yes?
You're such a good listener. Yes.
Yes. And that's very key. It's very key. For me, this way of impeccability, the program, it's what I always wanted when I was at school. I always wanted to go to like a fancy school, a private school, because I assumed that they would teach you more than what I
Yeah.
thought at the school that I was. I mean, I found out later it's not really any different and just more superiority. But the things I wanted to learn, I never learned at school. Yes, I had to learn them myself the hard way, all on
Yeah.
my own, figure it out. As I said in that story, I spent every moment, every second of my life doing this when I was
It's
inside
so
myself, right?
true, right?
It was very valuable. It was very valuable. And I didn't sort of give up when I got to my 20s, after school. I never lost that dream, that drive for that moreness. That was always there. So this connecting to how it connects to us as children is very important. Very important. Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. By the way, you said Professional of the Year. Thank you very much
Yes,
for that.
congratulations. What you're doing and impacting so many and helping so many, please. You are more above and beyond
Thank you.
that, but really, just you're
Thank you.
helping so
Thank you.
many.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am keen to hear questions and comments, and you can find me on Facebook. Just put in Syl Sabastian, and also, you go to my group, and I do a live every day on my group at, let's see, 1 o'clock Eastern or 10 Pacific. Now it's Pacific, yeah. So anyway, at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I do a live. We chat, we share. Right now, I'm sharing chapters of the books that I'm about to release called Ask Biella, Questions Answered, and we're reading the individual chapters. So I'm actually reading two of them. There's book 1 and book 2, because it's a lot. So anyway, you can come and connect, and of course, be here too. I mean, this is a different medium, and I realize
Yeah.
people mostly listen. But I'm available, and I'm going to be sharing lots with Jill coming up that I don't typically share. I don't typically share the program live. So we're going to share this and talk about it with the understanding that I'm also going to be sharing more about me and how I think and the books and stories. It all connects. It all connects. So very excited.
Beautiful.
And I
Well,
want to hear more about Jill too. This is not just about me. It's about Jill too.
I
I'm
cannot
serious.
wait to
I,
talk to
I, I
you.
can't do things one-sided, right? I
Oh,
can't.
thank you so much. A pleasure having you here again. Tell us how we can contact you. And yes, next week we're going to get right to sharing that screen and diving into all the work you're doing as a life coach, as a mentor, as an author. There's a lot to you. All right. So tell us the website, how we can find you.
Say again.
Tell us the website, how we can find you.
Oh, Nobelia.org with an E. Nobelia.
And join
Nobelia.
the Facebook page. Tell us.
Yes, that's Sassy Group. Just put in SASI Group and it will come right up. Yeah. I
Beautiful.
think you can probably just type in the search there, SASI. I abbreviated. It's the uh, um, self-awareness, self-improvement, self-discovery discussion group. It's a long name. I
It
wanted to get it
is.
all in there.
It is.
It's a
But all of
discussion
those.
group. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you
Discussion.
for being here, for joining us. Next time, looking forward to chatting again next week, right? Same place, same time?
Yes, same place, same time next week. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you
Oh,
so
such
much.
a
You
joy,
have a
Jill.
great
Such a
day.
joy.
Thank you. All of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Alrighty then. Alrighty then. That was fun. That was fun. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
fun.
It was
That
fun.
was fun.
It was fun.
A couple points before you share. I had great fun making comments. And thank you, Melissa. Thank you very much, Melissa, for the congratulations. I'm thrilled that you're here, Melissa. I'm thrilled that it's most excellent. Okay. Before we start on discussion and moreness, I just want to say, when I encourage commentary, I was demonstrating today what I mean by commentary and participating. Yeah, I'm not expecting anybody to make as many comments that I did. I was over exaggerating it a bit. But share fully. All right. Some of the things Norma appreciated because I gave a little extra explanation of what it means. And also, this is very important. When those comments, when somebody watches later, Facebook puts a timestamp next to the comments so that you can pause and read. and pause and read, right? And then you can see what I'm playing. So you can, yeah, and then, okay, what you talking about? And you can get that extra. And this is what can happen when we are having a discussion. That's why I say, don't worry if it comes later, right? We can always pause and then comment. That's very cool, very cool. So I hope you saw all my comments there. I mean, I don't expect you to read them because you're watching and listening, but I had fun. I had fun making the comments. Also, I made a comment about it. I wanted to demonstrate this is how I watch and interact. My brain is going, and I wasn't not paying attention. It's just that's how my brain works, right? I'm watching, and inside my brain, there's this whole lot of stuff going on. And now in this case, I kind of know what's there. If I'm watching something new, then I'd have even more extensive comments, and then I sometimes would have had to pause, and I might write a whole long chapter, or sometimes lots of stuff comes to me, and I just stop, if I can. Otherwise, I might lose that. And also, I wanted to say, just look, my last comment there. I set the intent beforehand. Two things. Last week, because the time was so short, I thought when I was making a comment that took literally 10 minutes, I thought it was a minute long. So as a result, if you watch last week, Jill only has something to say and comes in and connects 3 times, I think it was, something like that, right? Which is why it was 3 minutes. I thought like 1 minute, Jill, another minute, but actually it wasn't. And this week, right, I spoke. Yes, it is about me. The show's about me. Her job is to highlight me. That is her intent and her job. So I do try and bring her into it because I don't like it being only about me. As much as it is important to be about me, I don't care for it to be only about me. For me, I'm inclusive. It bothers me. It presses against me when there's not inclusivity. Yes. Now, last week I was trying to get Jill, and I wanted to get there, but the time, so it wasn't ideal. So this week I set the intent to be more aware of the time, and I was paying attention to it. Yes, like I do when we do our lives, and you have to when you're doing these things. And I succeeded. I'm very happy I did succeed. Not only in watching the time, but not having such long answers. Sometimes yes, when necessary, but being able to bring Jill into it more. I was very happy about that. And at the end, I was able to bring in, say, yes, okay, the website, Facebook, all this, and we ended. Perfect. The timing worked out very well. And the reason I'm mentioning this, not to pat myself on the back for doing it, but to mention it because I had set the specific intent. I didn't it just worked out. That's what I want to mention. So that clarity of intent, it absolutely, you see it in action. The two intents to have, the rhythm of it, me, then some Jill, me, then some Jill, right? Me and a little bit of Jill. That's important. There's a rhythm to interviews. That's important. Yes, it's not 50-50, because then the interviewer is going to feel like they're not doing their job, right? But in our case, and there was a bit more of Jill, which I also like. For me, it's very important to have interview involved. And the second thing was just the timing overall, so that I say my say, I get there, I left a cliffhanger, which was also an intent. I want to carry over to next week. I want to come back to say, how am I going to make clarity of intent relevant and pertinent to a 7 and a 9-year-old? It's quite a good challenge, right? Well, see you next week. I'm not going to tell you now. But anyway, I like the timing and the way it worked out. That's just my takeaway on everything. Beena?
Yes.
Yes. Very happy you're here, Melissa, by the way. And of course, Norma, always, every day. I love your comments. I hope you're enjoying my comments, Norma. You did say in the beginning, thank you for the extra refresh. Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead. I'm so excited. I was low energy before, and Beena said before we got started, because we were on Zoom beforehand, he said, well, maybe you should have some coffee. And I did. And I was still a bit, but the interview energized me. You see it, right, Beena?
Yes.
Did it energize you, Beena?
Yes, it was a great, of course, it was a good good interview. I still feel that okay, I want more questions from her, because this is something I'm just missing, because it's hard for you to to encapsulate things, these concepts in like really tiny
Yeah.
sharing. Because
Beena, on that
I
point,
was
let me
listening.
extrapolate a bit on that, or expand a bit on that. Yes, you know I thrive on questions, but you know about Way of Impeccability. You know about the Moreness-Project. You know about the book she does. She doesn't have the depth to ask the questions that you would like to ask. Now, right? So just to keep that in mind, right? I mean, she interviews a lot of people in a day. You know, she's doing like I think a half a dozen of these every single day. Yes. Now some of them are repeat, some are new. So I have to be considerate of her as well, right? I mean, that's why they edited it out, by the way. The first thing I said was, I really appreciate your professionalism and your energy. It's most excellent. They edited it out. Unless it didn't hear, unless my mic wasn't working when I said it, because my sound did go off completely. But I don't think so. But this was only the audio that went off, not the mic. But I'm just saying, Beena, that it's difficult for her to ask the kind of questions that you would like to have asked. More honest questions.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Okay.
One more point on that. One more point on that. They're very keen for me to have a guest. Maybe not next week or the week after, but you know, sometime around about episode 6 or so, 10 maybe, somewhere in there, we'll have a very good questioner who knows which questions to ask me, and she's going to be making notes on her sticky notes of I want to hear this question, and she's going to ask those questions. This guest.
Yes. Okay. One more point.
Ramsey! Ramsey!
Hello. Hello,
For those who
Ramsey.
don't know, Ramsey's name needs to be said in that announcer voice. You got to celebrate. Hello, Ramsey. It's good to have you here, mate. It's good to have you here. Did you get to watch the Ramsey specifically for you? Did you get to watch some of the interview? Because Ramsey's done interviews too. Ramsey's an author. He's written a bunch of books. I think he wrote his final one, which is the 4th one, right? I think so. Anyway, Ramsey's done interviews as well. What did you think, Ramsey? If you saw it, what did you think? Ramsey very much liked the first one. I know you've got more to say, Beena. I know I'm interrupting you. We're gonna get back to you. Hello, Ramsey. Did you get to see it? Did you get to see the interview that we shared earlier? Probably not. Anyway, keep going, Beena. You were gonna say more. I mean it about questions. Norma, you too, please. If during these interviews there's a question that you want to know, this applies for anybody, Ramsey, Melissa, anybody. If there's a question you want to ask me, please send me the question and I'll pass it on to that guest questioner that's going to come on a few episodes down the road, and they will ask it on your behalf. Plus, they're going to ask their own questions that they really want to know, the Moreness questions. Yes. So pass them on to me, and the guest that I'm going to bring on will ask these questions. And if you pass them on to me, I'll pass them on to the guest questioner, and they will ask them on your behalf. Very important. Yes. 4th book. Okay, good. You watched the first one. All right. We just went through the second one, Ramsey. I put the link in earlier in chat. I know there's a lot of comments for me in chat, but the link is there. So I will. I think I still got it on my thing. Yeah, I'll share it again. Yeah. So there's the link to watch it on YouTube. And because from the live, not everybody got to see it on the live. Of course, it's difficult, you know. And I only recently uploaded it. It takes a day or two to get it onto Facebook. So anyway, I was keen to hear your opinion, Ramsey, because I thought the second one you really liked the first one. I thought the second one was even better. What do you think, Beena?
Okay, I like the first one, of course. That was the most exciting thing for me. Now I'm getting used to it, and I was like, okay, yes, it is becoming like everyday usual, like the thing for us, because this is how Syl is going to be
Yeah.
on regular basis. So for me, it is, I'm just taking it as like, okay, yes, the thing. So that's
Yeah.
why we are into getting more observant mood, like, okay, yes, And that's a problem. It's a problem with the moreness. Once you start practicing it, once you start looking for it, your expectations get higher and higher and higher. It is not in this conventional way of expectation, like, oh, you must do that, you must do that. No, but we expect more. We expect more because this is who we are. This is how we are, where we actually tune our mind, and especially from those people who share more. So when I say something about sales, I know that I'm super critical about this because
Yeah, it's
I do
good.
exactly.
I want to hear that super criticalness before you get
Yes, so
super
because for
critical.
me it is, I'm not looking just to look, or of course listen for Syl, because this is what I
Yeah,
do. Of course, I have this
correct.
opportunity.
You've
I
been a
really
fantastic
enjoy that.
friend.
Yes, yes. So because I'm blessed in this sense, and I'm lucky that okay, I do have this opportunity to actually have this moreness throughout the day, and of course all the time. So for me, when I get into this mindset that I'm just watching Syl from new people's mindset, and like a new viewer and somebody who is not aware of Syl and no idea of what moreness and nobelia and all these things, then I said, okay, Syl, you must say that. I'm very super critical, sometimes unfairly critical with him.
No,
Yes,
never unfair, never
because
unfair, never unfair.
because this is something I really, because it was, yes, technically it was like, okay, yes, the first interview. But Syl is doing it like for a year now. Continuously he's
Yeah,
doing that. So for him, it's like nothing. The problem is with the mourners person like him is to encapsulate things. He
that's the
has
hard part.
so many definitions of what moreness is. If I will ask him right now, he will have something new. Of course, a complete different. But
Yes.
to say it for a new person who has no idea of moreness, but few seconds, like just a couple of seconds, when Jill asked him, he was like, brother, it was like which one to choose, which
Yes.
one to
Now,
choose for
it's
those people to
interesting.
share with.
Sir and I had this conversation about what mourners means yesterday. And it was
Yes,
a very deep
but even
conversation.
Cher, is someone who has, of course, the idea about to
Yeah,
share it with someone completely new in a second.
there we
And
go.
I could see that what Syl's mind was doing to choose the appropriate one for the viewers.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, okay, Syl, it has to be there, like duh.
Which
But of
you bring up a good point. When I get
yeah,
asked a question like that and I'm picking from selections, I'll say there's a lot to it. It's a deep explanation. And when I'm thinking about it, it's not that I'm thinking to figure it out. I'm thinking
no,
which
which one to choose?
explanation, which angle to come at it from
Exactly,
first. So I will remember
exactly.
that, Veena. Very good point. I will remember that. I want to make other quick point here. What I liked about the interviews, and it's important to me, I cannot be anything other than real and natural.
Exactly,
Now, I
exactly.
was on the thing. Just because we're being real and natural doesn't mean we have to be clumsy. Doesn't mean we have to get lost in time like I did on the first interview. Yes, it doesn't mean I can't be paying attention to time. I pay attention to the time when we do these lives every day. I pay attention. I was just looking at the time now because I actually want to continue doing some more readings as well. Those are important, and it's a bit of time pressure on us, and I really enjoy that. And we've talked enough about the video. So it is part of my naturalness to pay a time. But again, just because we are able to be deliberate about time management and deliberate about bringing Jill into it doesn't mean I'm artificial. Bringing Jill more into it for me, this is my naturalness. This is important to me, inclusivity. I cannot emphasize how important inclusivity is. I get physically pained when people are excluded. It really bothers me big time. Norma, I want to hear your opinion on the interview. Norma, I'm very keen to hear what you thought. And again, Norma can be brutally honest too, and I love it. Sometimes Norma says, "No, I didn't like it at all." Well, I loved it. Whatever. I want to hear Norma. I want to hear.
Yes,
I
okay.
want to hear.
Anyway, so coming back to the same point, that was the struggle, because I'm aware of it.
Yeah,
I know that
yeah.
how many times I asked him the same question, and I got like, because he understand that okay, well, the previous one was not satisfying me, so he gave me a different definition. Of course,
Yes,
aiming towards the
yes,
same thing,
yes.
and that appropriateness is a big deal. And in those moments when Jill asked him in the beginning that okay, what is it? I was like, okay, yes, the appropriateness, the calculation in the mind, it was going on. It was like figure out. For the new person, it can be like he's trying to figure it out. No, it's not. But it was
Now,
just to choose the appropriate one. That was the thing. I was like,
Beena,
okay, yes, that's why I yes.
sorry, hold your
Yes.
point, hold your point. I just want to make a point because it's a mental note point, a point about intent. When I get asked a question that has a huge answer, I will respond by saying, excellent question, good question, that's a very deep question, it has a big answer, something like that. I'm setting the intent. To not respond thus with
Yes.
but to respond with excellent question. Most excellent question. This requires a more thorough, more detailed answer. Just setting the intent. You got to do it in the moment when the emphasis is there. That's why I have to interrupt you. Just by the way, just as a technique for doing this. Yes. All right. Please keep going, Beena. Please keep going.
Yes, and or you can, okay, just my idea that you can exactly say that okay, I do have multiple or countless definitions of that. I just choose different for different understanding, and of course as appropriate or whatever sentence or you
Correct.
can
Correct.
formulate for this, because this is actually what it is.
Correct.
Because if the
Correct.
way of impeccability in the Moreness-Project,
Yes.
every single time the situation is different, even if it is being asked by the same person, the situation, the context is going to be different. And then of course you are going, and the mindset is going to be different. So then still always just adjust with the appropriateness, and of course coming back to the context that, okay, if a person is asking the same question third time, just suppose, just for example, which means that the two times he was or she was not satisfied, which means that they are looking for more. So it is going to be
Exactly. I love this. I love that you bring up this point that when I get asked a deep question, I'm going, there's so many and I choose it. This, you made me aware that I'm doing this and I will articulate that I'm doing this. It's a fantastically helpful point, Beena. It's very cute. It's very cute.
Yes.
I am keen to read actually, because the very next chapter is pertinent and relevant to this interview and to the whole interview series. Yes. Because
just
it
one more thing,
brings
Syl,
up,
just
please,
one more thing.
I just wanted to say that I am keen to read it because it is connected, as always. It's always connected, but
Yes,
it
it
is
is
very
always
pertinent.
connected. Just one more thing. I know that okay, that you did, of course, you practice to keep your private self and the public self because it was appropriate at that time. And of course, it is sometimes still it is appropriate to not to share those things. But I always have seen that other than these lives are different. Before that, it was like you always adjust with the other person because it was so like really a consideration from your side. You adjust with me. I know that, and I was aware of it that you are adjusting a lot, a lot, and
Look
you
at
were
this.
adjusting with other people. Yes, of course, and really it was critical for me at the time. If you would not be doing that, I would not be able to actually be here today because it was a part of
Exactly.
your consideration also involved into this. Uh, but the through of your voice I experience in these lives now, I want to see that same throw in the interviews also because it shows really who you are.
The
I
same
know that
what?
you
The
are
same what? The same what? I didn't hear the word.
throw, the same throw of your voice, the projection or
Throw.
the same.
Throw.
Yes, yes,
Oh. In what
yes.
way, Beena? How do you mean?
It
I'm not
is
following you here.
okay. It is if you will just watch your video again and you watch just like right now when we were talking and you were sharing with us live here, just a subtle difference in that. Of course, it is out of appropriateness, but I
What do you mean though? Must I be speaking more personally to Jill or I don't know?
no. The throw of voice and projection is when you actually show or project your authority on your subject.
Oh,
Just a
oh,
little bit more.
all right,
Yes.
all right, all right. It's
Because
because
this
I'm
is natural
excited,
for
you
me now.
see, because I'm high energy, it loses that. When I'm on a one-on-one, it's appropriate to be that hyper, you see. I mean, not that I'm
No,
super
no,
hyper.
no, 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 no. You are not hyper. No, 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 no. The hyper is something when we are
Right,
discussing something like in the group of friends. No, that is something you are not. But
right.
just
No,
the throw.
but I
I'm
mean
not saying you have to speak
the throw of the
louder.
voice, the pitch, the cadence. In other words, I understand what
Cadence
you mean.
actually. The
Right.
cadence
But
actually.
yes, it's
Not the
because
not to raise the
it
volume,
yeah,
but
right,
just to throw
right,
your
right,
voice
right.
in a way that it is an authority. That's
Yeah.
it.
And in other words, I'll speak more to Jill as a participant.
Yes, yes,
That's what you're
yes,
saying. Because that's the
yes,
difference. When
yes.
when
That's the
you came
difference.
on and you came on as a participant, and there's a different communication from a facilitator point of view, because that's how I consider myself in way of impeccability. When I'm doing that with somebody or a group, I'm the facilitator, and that has a different cadence, a different tonality, a different authority to the voice, and
Yeah,
that's what
the
you're asking
tonality.
from me.
This is the
Ah,
word tonality. Yes.
right. So that is going to come because I'm going to be sharing this, and I'm going to get into way of impeccability mode. So it will come. It will come automatically from me sharing and elaborating on way of impeccability. And I have to keep in mind, by the way, that the majority of people are not watching, they are listening. So even though I'm screen sharing, I have to make sure that I'm not relying on you to read it. Yes?
Yes.
I was listening to an interview she was doing with an interior designer, and he was showing pictures, and she was going, "Oh wow, that's fantastic," but you couldn't see the pictures, so it just meant nothing completely. Okay, so I
Oh,
have to be careful, even though it's on video for me, it's not so for the majority of people will only be listening to the audio. So I have to keep that in mind. Another intent. All right. By the
yeah.
way, for
Okay.
whatever reason, Facebook has stopped showing me the uh, the comments, just white on the screen, which you'll see in a
Oh,
moment. I'm going to screen share because I do want to, unless there was more you wanted to say, Beena, please, of course, I never want to curtail you. Anyway,
no, I just see that Ramsey's comment. He says, "I will check it out," and then he says that, "Hi, Norma." So he was
uh,
chatting to.
how did Norma like this? I didn't see a question from, I asked Norma, she liked the interview, but I didn't see a response. I'm very
Oh.
keen. Norma, you can quite freely and happily say you thought it was terrible. If you thought it was terrible, please say so. No, it's important. It is important to hear adverse opinion. Yes. Otherwise, one can get lost in our own bubble. And so I love it. Beena loves it. That means it must be wonderful. No, not necessarily so. We could be lost, you know. That's important. That doesn't mean that I'm going to say, well, it was terrible because so and so says so. I'll take it all into cognizance, right? So it all works together. Now, I want to read this chapter here, or Beena can read it if she feels like it, either way, right? Just by the way, I love the art now. Yes, if you're listening, you can't see the art. It's very sophisticated art. It shows a full length Beena. Beena. It shows a full length Biella. Excuse me, I get Beena and Biella mixed up, and Norma and Biella, and Biella and and Beena and Beena and Norma and everybody. So who knows why? It drive me crazy when I was a kid with my mother. She used to call her children by the incorrect name. Most fascinating thing. Well, maybe it's stuck in my brain, and I do that too. Anyhow, it's a wonderful art there, wonderful art. Well done, Syl, on the art. So the question here is, this is Ask Biella, chapter 20. Oh, chapter 11, sorry, chapter 11. And do you want to read, Beena, or do you want me to read?
I can't because it is blur for me, Phil. I'm going to take pictures and send it to you. That
No, no,
it
no,
looks
no,
like
don't send
something.
me the picture. Don't send me the picture, okay? How about now? How about now?
Same.
Okay, then I shall read. It's because my internet is really, really slow, and it's just barely managing to keep up, so that's why. All right, so chapter 11. My parents are always going on about ambition and status and becoming somebody, in inverted commas, and stuff like that. But are ambition and status good things? That's the question. See, I should have said that's the question first, or for audio. Because when you're reading this and you're watching on the screen, you can see it's the question in inverted commas, but somebody listening cannot. So I said, here's the question for Biella. Right? See what I mean? I have to keep that audio in mind. Dear A, to answer your question, I have a story for you. The Fable of Marilyn. Marilyn was a pretty girl, well liked, but she was not satisfied. She was not happy inside. There must be more, she said. I must be missing something. So she set about becoming more popular, making herself beautiful and loved. She did this and still was not happy. Ah, I am not successful or famous. That must be it. So she set about becoming famous and successful, and she became so. The whole world loved and admired her, but still she was not happy. It must be because I'm not loved by the right people. Yes, strangers love me. Yes, people who are not important love me, but no one that really matters loves me. That must be why. So she set about being loved by important people, even the president. But still she was not happy. And when she realized she had fulfilled her ambitions, that she had, that she, and when she realized she had fulfilled her ambitions, she was loved by everyone, was loved by important people, and she still was not happy. She realized, she realized there was no further she could go, nothing else she could do. She had achieved the pinnacle, but still she was unhappy. There was nothing else she could do. She realized there was no further she could go. There was nothing else she could do. She had achieved the pinnacle, but still was unhappy. There was nothing else she could do. So sadly, Marilyn died of a broken heart, never having realized that love from outside can never make her happy. Never having realized the opinions of others can never make any difference. Sadly, dear Marilyn never realized it was only her own opinion which mattered. Marilyn was an inordinately sweet and nice person. She thought that having a good opinion of oneself was a bad thing. She thought having a good opinion of oneself was a bad thing. Oh, that's terrible. She believed obtaining the good opinions of others was the good and right thing to do, for that was the view of society. And dear, sweet Marilyn, in her innocence, never questioned this. She simply tried to do what she believed to be the good and right things in order to be happy. And when she came to the end of her achievements and knew there was no further to go, she lost all hope of happiness. Or so she sadly believed. That hopelessness crushed her heart, and she died of despair. The end. In brackets from the author, this should be in square brackets because that's when you make an author comment that's separate to the story, not in brackets that applies to the story. It's in these square brackets, like I'm adding there. So in square brackets, in other words, an author opinion from Biella, in other words. This is a personal view. I don't really know if it is true or not. And of course, it matters little. The point remains the same. Yeah. That story always makes me a bit sad. I mean, and this, I love this picture. Here's a picture of a young girl. It's not a Maryland girl specifically. She has flowers in her hair because that was that time. And she's thoughtful. And, you know, as you can see, this thinking about it, but there's also hints of coming sadness. Very powerful picture. But this story is very important. And how does this connect to the interview? It is about the why. There is not one ounce or iota of energy or idea or intent or desire and reason that I'm doing this because of status or ego. Couldn't get two hoots about that. Matter of fact, I'm a little anti them. Yeah, I'm doing it because it gets me to share what I do, and the sharing that matters. The books, it's for me the ability to share. Why when Jill asked me, who am I? What am I about? I'm a sharer. I share. Yes. I'm also an elucidator, and I'll mention that next week. Right? Because in the ongoingness, I'm not going to talk about me every week. I'm going to share a little more. I said, yes, last week I said I'm a sharer, and what I do is sharing. And yes, that is so. But I'm also an elucidator. This is also what I do. And this point about ambition, though, a lot of people say, oh, congratulations, professional of the year, because they're related from an ambition point of view. I appreciate your thank you. Yes, but it's not something that is of value to me from an ambition point of view, but it is valuable from a recognition point of view. It's a subtle difference, right? I don't take it because it gives me status. I take it because it has value in enabling me to elucidate and subtle difference, but we assume ambition and status to be the norm. And this is what I want to emphasize. Yes, it is not the norm. It may be prevalent, it may be all over the show, may be most common, but it is not 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 only the case. Yes, there are exceptions, many more than people realize. Many people do things that are in the public eye, and they are celebrities even because they have an important mission. Yes, they're looking to do good in some way. Don't care about status and ambition and the celebrity. That's the superiority paradigm assumption that we do it for that reason. Just because we're doing it doesn't mean I'm doing it for your reasons. I'm doing it for my reasons. And the superiority paradigm tends to assume that everybody does it for the same reasons. We need to get out of that. Yes, we need to get out. We're conditioned to think that way. No, people aren't on TV because they want fame and status and recognition and approval. No, not necessarily. Right? Or do interviews or podcasts or whatever. And they can have other reasons. Very, very important. And this other point in the story, if you do things for others, you end up potentially like Marilyn. Yes, and I watched this. Yes, Marilyn is a little bit before my time, but that story replayed. And when I grew up, I saw repeats of the story many, many times. And I saw many documentaries on Marilyn, so it was even more emphasized afterwards. And I came to see this from my ability to see deeper and perceive people. I saw that sadness, that hopelessness. I mean, the desperation, when she was singing Happy Birthday to the president, that famous song. I mean, she was completely drunk and high at the time. But you see the sadness and the desperation. Love me, love me, love me. When you watch that song through that viewpoint, it's one of the saddest songs ever. It's a cry for help song. It's very sad. Do you know which song I'm talking about? Where she sings Happy Birthday, Mr. President? That's maybe a bit before your time. No, it's a very famous song of Marilyn's. You can look it up. Older people will probably know it because it's a little bit before your time. It was a big deal, and I think they stopped showing it because people realized at the time the innocence of the general public didn't realize that she was completely drunk and high. Yeah. Anyway, a big deal, and then later on the story of her depression and loneliness, sadness came out. By the way, interesting fact on Marilyn, especially growing up in my generation, when I grew up, by the way, on Marilyn, sorry, I'll turn the sound off there. When I grew up, Marilyn was the it woman, right? And she was the pin-up one, the most famous, the most beautiful, the most popular, everything, right? She was like, this was the it, yeah. I mean, maybe later when other women's, what's her name, that Angelina Jolie was that for a long time. I think she's kind of fading right now. I don't know if there's kind of an it woman right now that's so dominant, as a general one. Anyway, Marilyn was it when I grew up. And Marilyn got criticized a lot for being empty and shallow. She did some movies, and acting was criticized. She even did a movie with Laurence Olivier, who was like the actor. He was like Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I mean, it was the same, right? And when he died, Anthony Hopkins kind of took over. So, like, really the most respected actor, and they did a movie together, right? Because Marilyn was so huge that this happened. But it was very much criticized. And again, the point I'm making is that Marilyn was seen to be but shallow and empty-headed. But here's an interesting fact about Marilyn that very, very few people know, because the image of Marilyn is so tainted by the media. In other words, don't always believe what the media says. Yeah? I mean, look deeper. Yes, I mean, they share the popular view, but it's a perception. Understand when things are perception and in actuality, right? And in actuality, Marilyn loved reading. She was a bibliophile. All of her free time was spent reading. That's something.
Yes.
Now, again, it might not be so powerful for you, Beena, but people from that generation who grew up knowing Marilyn, they are always profoundly surprised to hear this. It's like, really? Yeah, really. Big deal. There's more to people than we think. There's more to people than we think. I have no idea why the comments aren't showing, as you can see on the screen share. It's all white. No idea. No idea. So if there are comments, please pass them on. Please pass them on.
Okay.
All right. So
Yes.
this all relates together, right? Yes. And I'm always tempted to put that in there about Marilyn, but just there's more. There's more to people, and look for that moreness. Don't assume. Don't assume it's not there. There's always moreness in everyone. It's not that it's not there. It's just that we're not extracting it. We're not connecting it. We're not seeing it. We're not finding it. It's on us if we don't see the moreness. It's on us. It's on us. Why don't it's so big? Then it's on us. All right. So we get to the next chapter here, which I also want to read today. And distorted self-importance. It's related. It's connected. And again, it just came up this way. This was how they came in the original order, and just happened to be this way. And Norma, Marilyn. Her name was Norma too. Norma Jean. Right? She didn't necessarily fall into the trap of self-pity, just sadness. But that kind of sadness and hopelessness, it's all related. It's a cousin of self-pity. It's all connected. So we have to understand this, right? Nobody loved me. I'm lost. Whatever. It's self-pity. There's many ways in which self-pity gets expressed. We have to pay attention. And also, I'm trying to pay attention to not have my hands cover my face and not speak too much with my hands. Just good. I mean, I use them, but they don't have to be on camera. Right? Yeah.
No, it was not. It was not that obvious. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Sometimes it's important when I'm making a point like this. Yes. Now that emphasis is necessary. But when I'm just general nonsense hands that are going all over the show, and sometimes getting in front of my face when I'm talking and I'm saying this and that, don't need to do that. I'm just paying attention. Just paying attention. Again, all of this, it helps me to be more aware, which is something I've been practicing all my life. I like to be aware of everything at the same time. Now, there, the hand was important. Right? So this is part of what I like to do. It's part of Way of Impeccability, enhancement and development of awareness. That's not necessarily particular to Way of Impeccability. The way I express it, yes, maybe, but it's the universal agenda. When we understand this is the universal agenda, see, there the hand is important. Oh, I just noticed my eyes looking kind of blue there. All right. I don't know why. In real life, I think I got blue-green eyes, sometimes more green, but somehow on Zoom, they show blue. This intrigues me. All right, chapter 12, distorted self-importance. Is it clearer for you yet, Beena, or not yet? Can you read? Can you read?
No, sir, it's blurred for me.
All right, distorted self-importance. The question from the questionnaire, H asks, my friend is always full of self-pity and doesn't see how bad that is. Can you help me understand self-pity better? Did you see what I did there, Beena? I adapted from what I said earlier. to make it clear for the audio that the question is from the questioner. So I said, H asked. Yes. You with me? There's a lag for Beena. There's a lag. Anyway, again, what am I doing? I'm not being egotistical. I'm emphasizing where I set an intent, and I did it in real time without just automatically incorporated that intent, right? Innately, immediately, smoothly, fluidly. I didn't have to pause there. I could have kept on reading and said, dear H. But the reason I do that here, and when Beena and I chat and get together and participants, and I encourage them to do the same, is for the emphasis. You're rewarding your brain for doing exactly what you wanted to do it. That's why it happened, because I've already trained my brain to do so. I'm now just pointing it out, right? So very important, very important. Dear H, I'll read the question from H again. H asks, my friend is always full of self-pity and doesn't see how bad it is. Can you help me understand self-pity better? Biella replied, dear H, self-pity is a devastating personal evil. Why is it so powerful? Why do we want to feel sorry for ourselves? Why does it cause us to endure the negative? And why do we choose the negatives that go with self-pity? Yes, why? Because it's the near twin of self-importance. Self-pity is that one thing, that key ingredient, that master of distortion, which allows us to feel, in all caps, special. That's the core of its evil and power. That's the connection to self-importance. The I deserve to feel special idea, to feel special idea. No, that's the true horror. And that's where all the corruption stems from. Their misbegotten notion and foisted idea of specialness. And foisted idea of specialness. I think I'm going to get started. This is a big statement there. One just has to love alone to realize how absurd it would be if the individual blades of grass were to insist on specialness. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I love this. I love this. They are each and everyone awesome just as is. It's but one example of a perspective on the folly of self-importance and insistence on the ridiculousness of it. And its insistence on the ridiculousness of specialness. Rationalizing crappiness. There's another aspect. All right. What do I have to say this? Foolishness? It's about, I don't want to say lameness either. Yeah, what's the synonym you want me to use here, Beena? Beena?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
oh.
now it is.
Okay, so the heading is rationalizing crappiness, right? What do you want me to use instead of that? What synonym would you like me to use? Because I know you don't care for this word, or even though it has become a normalized word.
Rationalizing irrationality.
Yeah, but that doesn't imply the
So rationalizing
behavior.
irrationality.
Yeah, but the behavior I'm talking about is not irrationality.
Okay, so nonsense. Yes, so nonsense behavior, illogical.
You see, illogical though, it's not crappy. Okay, nonsense, yes, but
Yes.
you know what? I'm gonna make my own word.
Bizarre,
there we go.
Or what? Like, I can't read, Syl. Will you please tell me?
Rationalizing, nonsensing.
Yes. Nonsensing, yes.
I'm now debating whether to spell nonsensing with an E or without the E. Nonsensing. I think without the E. Yeah, see what I mean? Nonsense-ing
Okay.
with the E or nonsense without the E and then ing. I think without the E. I mean, if you can't see it, you can't see it all there, right?
Okay, so yes, it is just a spot there. I can see some red lines underneath, but I can't read a single alphabet.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
Yes.
type it in comments for me, please. Type nonsensing with the E or nonsensing without the E, and see which looks better to you, to your eye. Yes. I can't see the comments, but when you type it, and I want everybody to see it because maybe they can't see it either on this. Maybe it's blurry for everybody. Okay. And let me stop screen sharing and then screen share again. Maybe it'll come clear. And I'm going to take the audio off. Maybe take extra bandwidth. And I'll continue reading in a moment. Did you type it there? Nonsensing and nonsensing?
Yes, I'm doing this, but they both are like okay with red lines. So
Well, because yes, it's not a commonly used word. I am adding a suffix to a known word. It's perfectly legitimate for English, but Grammarly is going to have bits about it. Oh, Grammarly has lots of problems with lots of words that I use. Positivity. Grammarly, I had to add it to Grammarly. Positivity, for heaven's sake. So don't worry about the red lines. That's not what I want you to do. The objective here is for you. Hit enter. Nonsensing with an E and nonsensing without the E. The second, the last E, the E after the N, right? Which reads
yes,
better to you? Norma,
the
which reads
first one
better to you?
without E.
Oh, well, I thought you put the E on the first one. Okay, so a nonsense, right? Non-sen, so it's non-sen and then sing. Yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay, nonsensing. I agree. With the E, it looks too long and complicated, right? Okay. Rationalizing, nonsensing. Instead of crappiness, we are saying nonsensing. Not nonsense, but nonsensing, which is the act of implementing, acting, and behaving nonsensically. See? That's why the word is important here. Nonsensing. It's not it is again, people have no understanding about language. But do you understand what I mean? Yes, of course you understand what I mean, because you know what ing means, inging a word. Yes, playing. It's the act of doing it. So the act of nonsensing is the act of applying nonsense, implementing nonsense, being nonsensical. Rationalizing, nonsensing. Very powerful topic. There's another aspect. Let me see if I can learn spelling. Yeah. You got to train your dictionaries, by the way, like Grammarly or whoever. Just when you see it like that, tell it. Now, if I use it again, it won't flag it. Right? You know that, right? To say learn the word, learn spelling. All right. Rationalizing, nonsensing. There's another aspect to its insidious destructiveness. If we can convince ourselves we are tragically impaired, that we are flawed and handicapped through no fault of our own, then it alleviates us from responsibility for our failings and shortcomings. And that's powerful from Biella. Let's go over that again. If we can convince ourselves we are tragically impaired, we are flawed and handicapped through no fault of our own. Look, I'm adjusting that tone of the people who are that when they say this usually, right? If we convince ourselves
Yes.
we are tragically impaired, we are flawed and handicapped through no fault of my own. Then it alleviates us from responsibility for our failings and shortcomings. Not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm unlucky. I'm tragically impaired. I can't help it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. No? Nothing is really our fault. This is so sad. It's all premised on self-importance, being valuable. Once we unhook from the idea that self-importance, status, and shine have value, then we are free to be incomplete. What an incredible statement from Biella, right?
Hmm.
Once we unhook from the idea that self-important status and shine in inverted commas have value, then we are free to be incomplete. The reason that this, obviously she's saying the reason that people want to be tragically flawed and all of this is because their egos and status says you cannot be incomplete. You have to be perfect. If you're not perfect, you have to find an excuse for it, or you have to take responsibility for it. But when we unhook from all that nonsense, we say, of course we're incomplete. For heaven's sake, I can enjoy being incomplete. I might never ever be complete. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm a process. Doesn't matter if I'm incomplete. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the journey. It doesn't matter that I haven't gotten to my destination. It's incomplete. See? I'm enjoying the journey. Yes. We are free from the pressure to always be right, in inverted commas, and not make mistakes. What a liberation! Exclamation mark. We can then make mistakes! Exclamation. What a joy! Mistakes teach us. We learn from mistakes. Mistakes lead us to unknown and unexplored areas of ourselves and our world we would not otherwise be aware of. But this excellent value of mistakes is denied to the self-important. But this excellent value of mistakes is denied to the self-important, and especially to the self-pity. What a sad loss. Especially as they are the ones who can benefit the most from the freedom of being able to make mistakes. Exactly. The grasping onto self-pity is a cry for help. It is a way of saying that one is not up to the task. It is a way of saying one is not up to the task. A hidden way. For if help were asked for directly, it would conflict with the self-important image of false competence. The internal self-pity leads to imagined scenarios of help, which cannot be fulfilled in actuality. Sad, secret desperations of imaginations, which have no real hope of being fulfilled. Sad, secret desperations of imaginings, that's what this must be. Of imaginings, which have no real hope of being fulfilled. This is really sad. I know, very big deal. All because of buying into the idea that someone else's opinion matters. No, it doesn't. Yeah, there's this guy sitting and thinking about it. He's not necessarily self-pitying. He's kind of neutral because I don't want to have negative pictures. He's thinking about what Biella's saying rather than being immersed in self-pity. Misguided conformity. Yes, he's thinking about this misguided conformity. The idea that we have to look and seem special, not be so. Again, put special in inverted commas, yeah, because special is this kind of special is a negative thing. The idea that we have to look and seem special, not be so, just look and seem so, leads to living a massive lie. Right? The idea we have to look and seem special, not be so, just look and seem so, leads to living a massive lie. And that's a real tragedy. Oh, she says that's the real tragedy. And that's the real tragedy. When the truth is so amazing, to just be a simple and regular person is cool. Such marvelous people are treasures. Brilliant. Brilliant. Awesome. To be genuine, earnest, sincere, and good requires no specialness. It is special, but it doesn't require this specialness in inverted commas. Yeah? When all the pretense is dropped, the whole world is keen to help. Everything that's desired in terms of personal growth is open to be acquired when self-pity and self-importance are cut from one's life. Why is it so hard to embrace ourselves for the children we are? This needs to be a new paragraph. Let me go back. Ah, when all the pretenses drop, the whole world is keen to help. The reason I have to put it as a new paragraph is it doesn't logically follow from this. Right? It's kind of a jump. The new paragraph says that there's a jump, or potentially, right? Can follow, but that's why I did that. When all the pretenses drop, the whole world is keen to help. Everything that's desired in terms of personal growth is open to be acquired when self-pity and self-importance are cut from one's life. Why is it so? Why is it? Why is it so hard to embrace ourselves for the children we are? If one has joy and grace, appreciation and gratitude, if one is connected to the magic that is the world and has that awesomeness as part of one's life, why does it matter in the least if one is special? Yeah, why? It is abundantly good for the individual, and whether one is special or not doesn't matter one little bit. In fact, the reverse manifests. We then want to be unspecial in that we want everyone to have and experience what we have. So to reach the epitome of humanness is to strive for unspecialness. Wow. Wow. It's kind of an abrupt shift there to the last point. You know, I feel it can
Yes.
be filled in a little bit more. Uh, but I'll leave it. I'll leave it. It's nice to have these jumps, yes.
Yes.
It's a very brief part here. Again, you know, you can figure this out. Yes, it's quick and it's brief, but wow, that kind of jumped upon me. Let me think about it. In fact, the reverse, when this, we then want to be unspecial in that we want everyone to have and experience what we have. If I have something special only for me, then you don't have it by implication. Yeah? But as we extend our moreness, we want everybody to have what we have. Like when the part here that if one is connected to the magic of the world and has that awesomeness as part of one life, what does it matter in the leaf if one is special? It is abundantly good for the individual, and whether one is special or not doesn't matter. One. I think, yeah, I can say, in fact, the reverse manifests when we are, capital C, connected to the, I don't want to say awesomeness, I don't want to say magic, to the incredibleness of life, of living, not life. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
In fact, the reverse manifests. And yeah, I will leave, and yeah, I am going to leave manifest. Normally, I replace manifest with materializes, but yeah, manifest is actually important. In fact, the reverse manifests when we are connected to the incredibleness of living. We then want to be unspecial. Actually, we then actually want to be special. We then want to be unspecial. I think actually afterwards. Actually, in that, because then, well, I guess incredibleness. Yeah. When we are connected to the incredibleness of living, we then want to be unspecial, actually, in that we want everyone to have and experience the moreness we have. Yes?
Yes. In fact, the reverse.
That same moreness we have. So to reach the epitome of humanness is to strive for unspecial. Instead of so, I'm going to say that.
Thus, to reach the epitome.
Thus, amazingly, to reach the epitome of humanness is to strive for unspecialness. Be the blade of grass, people. You make a wonderful lawn. If we all were trying to be special blades of grass, we would have no lawn. Correct?
Say it again, sir.
I say, be the lawn. If we all were special, right? In other words, be the blade. Yes.
Yes.
If we all were special blades of grass, there'd be no lawn. Now, I'm going to put this in a quote there. If each blade of grass was special, there'd be no wonderful lawn. Yeah?
Yes.
Now, it doesn't mean you can't be other things, but be aware that, you don't have to be special to add to the marvel of the world. You can be, there are lots of special things in nature. But then again, name me one thing in nature that is exactly, or I mean, that has a uniqueness to it that isn't kind of found somewhere else. You say, well, okay, Kilimanjaro, or no, Everest. Everest is the highest mountain. When you're climbing Kilimanjaro or Everest or K2 or whatever, it's just as difficult. The difference you can't really notice. A big mountain is a big mountain, right? So they aren't really unique things in nature. Think about that a little bit. Everything in nature that's special is also found somewhere else. Yeah? I mean, I suppose you probably will be able to find an example somewhere. I can't think of it immediately. So, in other words, I'm trying to make the point that, if you put too much stock on specialness, you're going to get disappointed at some point when you realize that, well, it doesn't really exist. Yeah. Make sense? There we go.
Yes, yes, absolutely makes sense.
Don't get hung up on specialness, because really in the greater cosmos and universe and everything, we just are not special. It's a myth. It's a myth that's perpetrated by superiority paradigm. That's the obsession of the superiority paradigm. Be special. I want to be special. I want to be unique. I want to be special. Dude, you're chasing a false idea, paradigm. You're never going to be that. Yeah. I mean, for every dictator, how many zillions of other dictators haven't there been? For every emperor, for every movie star, or whatever. From the universe's point, been there, done that, seen that, right? Yeah, of course, they don't want to acknowledge that,
Yes, yes.
Big deal. Big deal. All right, let's end things there. Marvelous, marvelous. That was very good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching the interview. I don't always enjoy watching myself, but I actually listened. I didn't watch because I was typing. So I was listening and typing. And I thought it was great. It really energized me a lot. I was quite amazed. I was very energized by it. Did you feel some energizing from it, Beena, from the interview? Beena? I can't see
Yes.
the. I say, did you feel an energizing effect from the interview, for the second interview?
Yes. 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 Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
good. Will you? Oh, hello, kiddies. Hello, kiddies. Whoever that is. Who's that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Who?
you know some of them, but yeah, my cousins are visiting for the Eid.
Oh, oh,
So his kids,
oh,
they, and then of course other cousins were calling from Canada, so they're just like okay, chatting and all that, and everybody's
oh,
exciting. You were saying about energizing. We all are energized, of course, after
yes,
Ramadan. Like, oh yes, you can
yes,
see, you can hear
yes,
that in the sound and
yeah,
everything. So
yeah.
yes,
They are exciting and excited.
yes, both. Yes, both.
Brilliant, brilliant. Any comments from Norma or Ramsey or Melissa or anybody else that I can't see because
Yeah.
it's not showing?
No, not I'm not also I'm not seeing that. Okay, maybe they're not making any comments, or it is like okay, we
Yeah.
can't see.
It could
The
be that
last one
Facebook
was
is
from
having a
Ramsey.
problem. Yeah, because I've
Yes,
never
the
seen
last
this
one is
where. Yeah, okay, that's the same for me. The
48.
last one I saw, but I don't see any. It's just a blank whiteness there where the comments are. So Facebook likely have an issue.
Yes.
All right. On that note, bye bye Norma, bye bye Ramsey, bye bye Melissa. I'm glad you joined us, Melissa. And thank you for commenting. You know, it's nice when I know somebody else is there. It's very cool.
Yes.
It's very helpful. In other words, it's part of that inclusivity of mine. And it just means that there's more that are sharing in this moreness. It's not that I'm being recognized. No, it's more are sharing the moreness. It's a big deal. Very, very joyful. So very cool. Very cool. All right. More to come. More to come. Right.
Yes, it is
More to
always
come.
like always. Syl says that okay, there is always more.
There's
Yes,
always more.
and what I was saying in the beginning, I'm coming back to the same point again. That this interview itself, if I would just watch it from that, like from any normal person, it's an excellent interview. Of course,
Oh,
nothing wrong.
thank you.
Of course, yes, but
Well,
because
the people at the
I am
network
trained.
thought so.
Yes, okay, yeah,
I
but
mean, they
because I'm
doubled my
trained.
episodes again. Like,
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, but I'm saying that, okay, because I'm trained to see things and that my mind is very well tuned now to get into the mindset of like completely different. Like as I'm reading it, no matter how many times I have already read something, I can read it as something completely new. And then, of course, I can pick out things in that perspective. My, for, yeah, I can say that, okay, for like, okay, very long, just one experience for the interview with MATLAB, and that was the thing. And if I would watch it again, I can find like tons of mistakes, and I would like, okay, yes, I'm going to do it.
yes, but it was
It's
great.
not
You were
about
awesome.
it's
Yeah.
not about experiencing the same thing. Like, okay, yes, doing something is different, and just being an observant, and of course, looking at it with a critical eye and mind is a completely different thing. So I'm not saying that, okay, oh, I'm saying this because I'm an expert. No, I have none. I have no experience, no credentials for that. But because I'm trained through way of impeccability to see things in a different perspectives, with really practicing capital H hearing, I can see things which I have never experienced in my life, and I'm not an expert on that. So this is how things are. This is how you can develop and acquire skills via way of impeccability and moreness. So why I'm sharing this, because it's a big benefit. It's a big plus point for doing and practicing way of impeccability, is that you can acquire any skill if you really want to, no matter how you have experiences or not physically, practically.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. Please repeat that.
So this is something I was keen to
Please
share.
repeat that.
Yes, sorry.
Please repeat
Yes.
what you just said.
It doesn't matter that, okay, if you are an expert and you have done this thing, anything,
Ah,
practically or literally you have done something, but you can acquire any skill if you want to via way of impeccability. By practicing way of impeccability and Moreness-Project, you can acquire any skill, anything, any information and knowledge.
yes.
You don't need to be an expert on that. You don't need to be practically doing those things. Still, you can do that.
Yes. It's very, very powerful what you said. By the way, also you said, I'm not an expert when it comes to interviewing. Actually, you are. In this, that you are a viewer. Yes. Now we forget this. As viewers, we are experts, right? Because what we like and what we enjoy, this is what the whole point of the things are. At least some of the
Exactly.
point. See? So as a fan, as a viewer, you're an expert.
Yes.
Don't ever forget that, right?
Yes. So this is that I was keen to share this because when I was saying things, it might sound like for others that, oh, she might be an expert. No, I have zero experience of that. Okay,
You're
not
sharing
I
it
cannot say
as the
zero.
expertise of Beena's viewership. You're an
Exactly.
expert in that. You're an expert in
Yes.
what is
Yes.
important and what matters and what Beena likes, what Beena enjoys. And
Yes.
that is very valuable. We're all experts in that sense. Yeah?
Yes, and
Very
also
important
that,
to keep
okay,
in mind.
not only that, Syl, yes, I know that, okay, as a common person, of course, everybody is an expert as a viewer, but also I have a bit of edge because I have acquired this skill via way of impeccability to get into the real perspective of things and be really observant and practice capital H hearing.
Yeah,
So yes, I am a
exactly.
bit different than normal viewers only. Yes,
Yeah,
I I,
yeah.
I have no shame in to accept that yes,
Yes. I mean,
I
you've
have a
made
bit
an
of
effort to improve your skill. It's like somebody who says,
exactly.
well, I can run a 4-minute mile.
Yes.
That used to be that used to be a huge impossible thing. But now I think
Uh-huh.
if you want to even like college level, be taken like all right, well, you sort of averagely but better than average record to me. In other words, to run a 4-minute mile is no longer a big deal. But it means that you can
Yes.
something that most people are able to do if they have, a bit of serious intent and even just a little bit of athletic ability. Yeah, it's quite amazing, isn't it? That's something
Yes.
that we can be more. We can be more. And that's
Exactly.
physical. When it comes to psychological, attitudinal, we don't have limitations. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I have a stretch and reach limitations. I'm trying to plug in my air conditioner. It's starting to get warm now. It's cool in the morning. That's why, that's why you're hearing me grunting and groaning. Sorry. Multitasking, I like multitasking.
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Syl. Thank you for sharing that interview. Also, that thank you for sharing your perspective on the sadness and of course the other things like about being special and being unspecial
Ambition
uh,
and status
and
and
ambition
the
uh,
detriment.
and so many other things also in during this today's life. Uh, if we really pay attention, we can get extract so much out of it, and
Exactly.
it can be life transformative and life changing because
Exactly.
the concept of
Exactly.
ambition, uh, which was like really instilled in us in our mind conditioning that it is a good thing. Actually it is a crucial thing to have that, and people who were not into that ambitious mindset, they were labeled as losers, like they are nothing, and there is something wrong with their mind, that they have some illness or some incapability and all something. That was the idea,
Rubbish. What
just because
rubbish?
of the misconception. Yes, misconceptions, and the lack of awareness is causing so many things. And if we just try to look at it and try to observe that really understand how many lives have been ruined just because of this lack of awareness, that
Exactly.
ambition is a good thing and they were not into that mindset, and they were labeled
Exactly.
as
Exactly.
losers and of course failures and all that, and they it completely ruined their whole life. Lack of self-esteem, lack of
Exactly.
self-trust, their self-conception was completely messed up because of all sort of mind conditioning coming from the external
Exactly.
sources. Just because lack of awareness. See how dangerous it is. How dangerous it is. We assume that, oh
Exactly.
yes, it's nice to talk about these things while sitting on Zoom or like sitting in the drawing rooms and lounges and talking about these things with friends. It is not that simple. It is so critical in our life to actually work to acquire and learn and grow our awareness, because to not be a part of any nonsense which can ruin someone else's life just because of lack of awareness from our side.
Exactly.
That's why it
Exactly.
is so crucial. It is so crucial to work for it, to strive for it, to really, really work hard for this. On this note, thank you so much.
One more point on that, Beena. One more point.
Yes.
I just want to emphasize that you and I are sharing the same point here about ambition and status. We are saying that ambition is a negative. Not necessarily. Yes. It can be, and it typically is when it's inappropriate. Now, are there some people for whom ambition is appropriate, is a good thing, and they achieve much because of it? Sure, yes. But don't assume that it is necessarily so that you must have it. Yes. No, you don't have to be ambitious. You don't have to pursue ambition. That is the thing for people who want to be ambitious. Is it so for everyone? No, it's not. That's the point to make here, yes? But appropriateness, right? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Just to be clear. Just to be clear. I don't want somebody to take away from this that, oh, no, Syl and
Like
Beena
any
have
other
ambition.
concepts, sir. Like any other concepts in the
Precisely.
in the
Precisely. I was about to say that. Any other concept. This is why it's the philosophy of appropriateness. It's always about appropriateness. The article and the discussion is about, in general, this is assumed to always be appropriate, but it's not. And that causes lots of heartache, lots of upset, and lots of stress, and in some cases, severe depression, and leading to people dying because of education. So big deal, big deal. It's not a simple thing. Not a simple thing. And like I say, and like you said, I've seen many lives which have been ruined because people have not been able to live up to this false idea of ambition and status. They go into it. It's not my thing. Leave me alone. But no, their parents want them to be famous. Other people's lives, but your own life. That's the takeaway, right, Beena?
Yes.
As appropriate. I think it's to get in anything at all as appropriate, and that be appropriate. Yes.
Yes.
On that note, will you? Oh, I have to come back out in my. Oh, very good. See, I got to do that and be live. I love that. I love multitasking. Now, because the time. Because otherwise, I'd have to spend that same amount of time doing that, and then it would just be wasted. Well, not wasted, but only for that. Multitasking, I love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye, Norma. Bye bye, Ramsey. Bye bye, Melissa. Bye bye, Norma again.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
End meeting.
Bye for now.
End meeting for.